Get ready. We're going on athletic adventures all over the great state of Michigan. And the show begins now. Here's your host, Audrey Dahlgren. It is Friday. Hello, everyone. Hope you are feeling great. This is the hashtag Friday Feels show, and I am so excited for today's show because Michigan State's football coach Mel Tucker is going to be joining us shortly for the entire hour. Now, I know you were looking forward to shaking his hand and meeting him in person, Alex, but we'll have to wait for another day for that.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's okay.
We can punt that for another day.
All right. Well, it would have been fun to have him in the studio, but with a long day and weekend of recruiting ahead, this is a bit more manageable for his schedule. This will be the third weekend he and his staff have been allowed to host and welcome recruits onto campus ever since the dead period ended on May 31st. June 1st is when Tucker and his staff could essentially hit the ground running again on the recruiting trail. And as we briefly touched upon at the end of yesterday's show, it is paying dividends for him and Michigan State's program to be able to have these guys on campus, to have those face-to-face interactions. And so over the June 4th weekend, they welcomed 10 recruits to town along with 10 sets of parents. That would have been the opening weekend, while last weekend wasn't as big of a group. And this weekend, it's even smaller with just 3 prospects in town. But one's a 3-star quarterback out of California, Caton Hauser. The other is a 3-star wide receiver from Florida. And the third recruit is a 3-star offensive tackle from Eastlake, Ohio. Now, kind of want to make this clear, and I think that, a lot of people understand this in a sense, is, we can't talk about the specifics when it comes to, these players with Coach Mel Tucker, and he can't comment on the recruits specifically, but we are going to ask him what they've been doing once they get on campus and, kind of give us just a breakdown of what it's like now that they're able to host these guys. I know they have a lot of events lined up for them, and it looks like we do have Tucker on the show now. So, hey, Mel, how are you on this Friday? How you feeling?
I'm doing well. Audrey, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. We joked about this, but my producer, Alex, he was really looking forward to shaking your hand. But
Well, I was looking forward to being in the studio with you all today as well. It just so happens to be our third official visit weekend with recruiting. And so, we're 100 miles an hour over here with recruits rolling in today.
Yeah, we mentioned that just a little bit. Yeah, so I'm sure, though, you've been doing a lot of handshaking ever since the dead period ended on May 31st. And so how nice has it been to be able to interact with players in person again and have them on campus?
It's been great. I mean, we pretty much signed our entire 21 class virtually via Zoom calls and FaceTime and text messages and phone calls. And when some of those guys reported this summer, when they walked in and we were checking them into the housing, that was the first time we'd ever seen them in person. So to be able to see in person and just sit down face to face with the prospects and their parents that we've been talking to on the phone for months it's really special, and it's something that we don't take for granted.
You have hosted a number of players already, and I'm curious, what happens as soon as a recruit and their parents get on campus? Can you walk us through a step-by-step breakdown of the day and maybe the weekend? Where are you taking them on campus?
Yeah, well, when they get to campus, they typically check into the hotel, and then we pick them up. We bring them over to the facility. We have a huge welcome for them when they walk in. Our entire staff greets them, and then we, depending on the day, when we come in on Fridays, we usually do a brief introduction to our name, image, and likeness folks with our creative team, and then we do a photo shoot, and then we head out to dinner, and then we get up the next morning and on Saturday, and that's campus tours, academic appointments, meetings with the heads of our department, strength and conditioning, nutrition, with the coaching staff, the X's and O's, At some point, they do meet with me, and along the way, we're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's always there's always food around. We usually pick a couple different venues to take the prospects and their families to eat, and they also come to my house, once or twice for either breakfast or dinner or some type of social hour. So we get a lot done in a very short period of time. It's a 48-hour window that we have to show our prospects and their families what Michigan State's all about.
They look like they really enjoy the photo shoot aspect.
Yes,
It could be.
I believe it's a highlight of the weekend. We usually start that off shortly after we get here, and they're really energized, and we don't have to coach them up too much on the poses. They pretty much know what they want to do.
Well, so when you do have them here, then, what's the biggest point that you try to bring home when you're talking to a player and their family, and why they should come play for you and your staff at Michigan State?
Really, the biggest thing is the relationship. They have to feel like that they can trust us and that we're real. Everything is authentic. It's not just a show. It's not just a recruiting spiel. It's really they want to feel like this is a place where they can reach their full potential, where they can be comfortable, where they can trust the coaches and just have a great culture. And so and that's really what they're looking for. And then also talking about life after football is very important to the student athletes and their parents. They all know that they all want to go to the NFL, and we certainly will help them do that. But they all know that they can't play forever. So a large part of our time is dedicated to just explaining to them what type of resources we have here in terms of career development and networking and internships and just developing the whole 360-degree student athlete. Those are the two really most important things.
I'm sure that you probably get asked a lot of questions by the parents and maybe even the players when it comes to your coaching days in the NFL and the SEC. But what's the funniest or maybe the most random question that you've been asked over the past 2 weekends about those days?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good question. I'm not sure what is the funniest thing. I've been doing this this is my 25th year coming up coaching, and so when you're sitting down talking to the prospects and their families, you find out it's a small world, and you start to they start to ask you, do you know this person? Do you know that person? And then I say, oh yeah, I know him, and and then it just goes on to a story, and it's just really good connection. We have a really good time talking about the differences between coaching in college and coaching in pro ball, and then some of the great players that I've coached along the way and some of their characteristics, and I compared those NFL players to them because I've seen so many of them. I can always I can usually relate to a player and say that he reminds me of a player that I coached in the NFL, and I can tell them why. So it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure they really like that too. What's also something that they've probably learned about you that they didn't know, or maybe something that surprised them about you?
Yeah, I get quite a few of the parents, and it's mostly the parents, but some of the kids they say that they can't believe how laid back I am and how kind of calm and steady and they say, do you coach football? Like you're the football coach? And I'm like, yeah, there's a time and a place for everything. We're sitting in my office. We got to have some type of decorum up here and just have a civilized conversation. We're not on the field with the bullets flying, so to speak. So I think they're a little bit intrigued by maybe my off the field demeanor.
Okay, so what is that off the field demeanor?
Well, I mean, I'm just I'm just a normal guy. I don't get too high, I don't get too low. I just really like to. I get a lot of my energy from people, and so just the interpersonal relationships and the dialogue and just getting to know people and connection is really what I like to do. And so it's just a very maybe neighbor, the guy next door type deal, or I'm just a regular guy. I just happen to have some expertise in the area of coaching football.
Right. Yeah. No, you're not a robot, which essentially, too, I think sometimes people can have a misconception about, coaches or athletes kind of being just a linear approach to things. But so I want to ask you this, too. So when Tom announced all of his staff changes on June 7th, I had the opportunity to go over to the Breslin and chat with him. It was after the first official weekend that you guys could have recruits in town. And he said he stopped by your house for a little bit on Saturday night and just admired how you were able to manage not only 10 players, but 10 sets of parents. So how are you able to do that?
Well, that's a great question. And, yeah, I love when Coach Izzo stops by. He's usually the main event. When people see him, they're in awe, and it just really adds to the experience, and he supports us 100%. But, it's when people come over to our house, and they visit with us, they're really looking to see, they're really looking to see what type of people are you, do you can they trust their kids with you, are you going to do what you say you're going to do, and when you have larger numbers of people on a visit, sometimes it's more challenging to get to know people individually, to spend a lot of individual time, quality time, discussing things that are very important to them. So that's why I'm very fortunate. We have a great staff here. I'm not a one-man show. All of our coaches pitch in, their wives pitch in, all of our support staff, whether analysts, there may be GAs, all of the quality control folks. They all pitch in, along with the strength staff and the nutrition staff, just really to surround everyone and make sure that they get a great experience and that it's a personalized and individualized, and they just don't feel like they're just in a mass group of folks. So, when we have staff meetings here, we have upwards of 50 staff members, and so it's all hands on deck, making people feel comfortable and making sure that we're connecting with them in an authentic way.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I have some staff questions a little bit later, so just keep that in the front there. But I wanted to just touch more upon your relationship with Tom. Since you've arrived on campus, you guys have been able to reel in a couple of two-sport athletes, which I know you are a huge fan of, getting guys who are athletic enough to be able to play basketball and football, or just another sport in general. But what makes your relationship with Tom a great one? And also, maybe how has it evolved over the last year and a half?
Well, Coach Izzo remembered me when I was a graduate assistant here in 1997 and 98, and when I was really just breaking in, and he had just recently become the head coach. And so we had, somewhat of a relationship there at that time. And then Coach Izzo really loves football. He joked with me one time when I first got here that he was pissed off at me that I didn't consider him for my defensive coordinator position.
Sounds about right. Sounds right.
He loves football, and he knows how important football is to Michigan State. He's really good friends with Nick Saban. Nick Saban has been a mentor of mine, so we have really strong connection. He's really embraced me with open arms and has really been there for me for counsel in terms of Michigan State and how the culture of the entire place and how things have operated in the past. And he's just very supportive in terms of helping us recruit, and we reciprocate that. We love basketball. We love to support Tom and his program, and our players are very close. The football players and the basketball players have great rapport, and we have great rapport with their assistant coaches as well. So it's really a family atmosphere, and it's not just with the men's basketball, but with the other head coaches as well in the other programs. Our athletic department our culture is really it's all about family, and so. But there's a very, very strong tie between myself and Coach Izzo.
How important is it too to be a part of a university that has that family-like aspect when it comes to all of the coaches, as you mentioned, not just basketball?
It's important. I mean, we're all counting on each other to have a successful athletic department, and we're all in it for the student athletes, and so we can all help each other in so many ways. We spend so much time here on campus. We spend so much time around each other that it's imperative that we have good culture, that we have good relationships, that we have a family atmosphere. It starts with the coaches and the administrators and the staff, and then it kind of really spills over and affects our student athletes in a positive way. They're going to be a reflection of us. We're the role models, and we set the tone and we set the culture, and they will follow suit. And so that's why I feel like our athletic department and all of our student athletes, are more of a family. We really are working hard to break down the barriers and stay out of the silos and just really look at this as a collective effort to be the best that we can be.
So did you know, too, that Izzo uses a bulldozer to relax?
I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me with him. I think anything that he can do that's going to be physical and where he's going to be moving something against its will is something that he would like to do. So
yeah. Well, he literally does. He pushes dirt around to let out some stress of the job of North at his cottage. And so I want to know, how do you find ways to relax, or what do you do to take your mind off of football for a bit when you get the chance?
Oh, when I get the chance, I'll try to play golf when I have an opportunity. I'm not sure if that relieves stress or causes stress the way
right.
I play. I've got a bike here in my office. I'll hop on that from time to time to blow some steam off. And then I'll hang out, play with the dogs, watch some birds, at the house. Maybe go down and get on the simulator and try to straighten my swing out. Maybe grab the pool, get a pool table session going, get out there and shoot some pool or something. But I'm just a normal guy. Just try to hang out, Netflix every now and then, maybe check out a couple of series, and hopefully I don't get hooked and end up, watching till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd be conducive to your schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I already have to sleep fast, and then if that happens, then it makes for a short night.
Yeah. Well, being able to evolve and adapt is really important in all aspects of someone's life. But how have you evolved as a coach from when you were a grad assistant at Michigan State, back in 1997 to now, and essentially throughout all of your steps? Let's start there, and then I'll get into the other stuff.
Yeah, well, when I started in 1997 as a GA, I had played football for my entire life, and played at Wisconsin for Coach Alvarez. And the one thing that Coach Saban told me the first day that I was here, he said, "Listen, being a player and being a good player is different than being a coach. And just because you play, that doesn't mean you know how to coach." He said, "Oftentimes the best players are not the best coaches." So he told me, "So you're going to have to learn how to coach. Your job as a coach is to teach, motivate, and develop players. You're going to have to learn how to do that at a high level. Learn how to teach in the progression. Learn how to treat people fairly, but not treat them, all the same. Motivate players, and then develop players. I mean, that's what a coach is for. I mean, if you're not coaching it, you're letting it happen. And the measure of a coach is how well he can help his players improve and reach their full potential. So each and every year, I've worked to become a better teacher, motivator, developer of talent. As I gotten more experience, it's become not just developing players, but also developing coaches and staff that I work with or that work for me. It's continual lifetime learning. That's my mindset, because it's very, very competitive. There's always someone above you, and there's always someone behind you coming to get you. And so I've just worked really, really hard to become a better coach each and every season. And I feel like I'm a better coach now, actually, than I was a year ago.
Well, and when you go into that more, because speaking of being a better teacher, better motivator, developing people, a better coach, we always see all these books behind you during the Zoom calls. And so how much do you try to take away from reading, but do you have outside people that maybe come in and help you view things differently? Or walk us through that approach and how you've been trying to really challenge yourself to be a better teacher and a better motivator.
Yes, I try to read as much as I can. Lately, I'll have a hard copy of the book, but then I'll download an audio version, and I try to listen to as many different types of material. Not just all sports. A lot of things that are in business or some type of mindset or psychology or anything like that. Because there's a lot of carryover between like what I do and then what people do in other walks of life, outside of sports, out in the real world. And so I feel like I can take something from pretty much anything that I can get my hands on and really apply it to what I'm doing here. And I do have some people that I talk to, that I consult with, that are not in the building and not in my space, that can take a more objective look at what I'm doing and how I'm going about it. People that know me very well and are not afraid to tell me exactly what they think. And so I do seek counsel. I have a handful of people that I really trust, that I respect, that I can bounce some ideas off, and just see kind of what resonates with them and see how they can help me as much as possible. And the better I am, the better my organization is going to be.
So I know you're really busy with recruiting right now, but do you have a book that you're reading or a book that you encourage your staff to read?
Yeah, well, I just finished a book called Protocol, and which was a great book. It's about the Office of Protocol in the White House, which prior to seeing that book, I didn't know that there was an Office of Protocol. And it's really, I just finished it, and I asked a couple of my staff to read it, and it really talks about the attention to detail that's required to put on an event. They talk about visiting, president visiting a foreign leader or a foreign leader visiting the White House, and some of the customs and some of the details that are involved, the size of the room, the height of the ceiling, how many chairs, how do they face, what do we eat, what type of gift do you give, how do you receive it, all these types of things. And it's so important, the level of detail, because that's what we're doing. We're having recruits, prospects and their families. We're hosting them, and we have 24 hours to really capture their minds and make them believe that Michigan State and East Lansing is the best place for them. So every little detail matters, and we're competing for these prospects with other top universities, and so we're in competition, and competition is so much about comparison. So these families, they are comparing what they see from us, our level of detail, our sense of urgency, just the way we go about our business, our authenticity. They're comparing that to the other schools that they see, and then they're going to make a decision. So we have to make sure that we're on point with every single thing that we do.
Because, yes, you mentioned, too, the competitiveness of it. And when you're in a conference like the Big Ten, you are essentially competing with everybody who really points to in the Big Ten is Ohio State. And so how do you kind of how do you deal with that? How do you make sure that because the East Division is a gauntlet, Penn State and Michigan in that as well. So how do you crack into the recruiting dominance that OSU has built over the years, or how do you try to be above that?
Well, we have a lot to sell here at Michigan State, and whether it's the people here, we have a great coaching staff, and we have great support staff, and also, the university. The university has so many things to offer, and we have to toot our own horn. We have to educate people about, what we have and with the resources and what we can do for them, and what makes us different than the other programs that they're considering. And it's really important to find out what's important to the student athlete, what's important to the parents, what's important to the family, what's important to the high school coach, and then address those concerns and address those issues, and provide solutions and provide real, accurate, tangible information. Show them this is how we can help you reach your dreams. Here's how we can help you reach your goals. Here's the things that are important to you, and here's how we can. Here's what we have that is in alignment with what's important to you, and we just really focus on what we can do for them and how we can help them individually, how we can help them grow on and off the field, and that's a process, systematic process of doing that. And then we don't worry about the other schools. We have too much to talk about relative to Michigan State that it really doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. We just have to put our best foot forward and operate at an extremely high level in terms of, customer service and hospitality, and that's really what we hang our hats on. That's what makes us different. We're real, and people can feel that.
What program too then? I don't want to say taught you that part of it, but I mean, what program prepared you the most for this head coaching job at Michigan State? Or you mentioned learning from Nick Saban. You've learned a lot from him, but what other stops along the way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I've learned a little bit or a lot from all of the places that I've been. Whether it's Miami of Ohio or LSU, Georgia, Alabama, or out west at Colorado, or the here at Michigan State, or even when I played at Wisconsin and I hosted players as a student athlete host. I would help recruit players, and then the 3 NFL teams. You have to recruit your own players every single day. Because you're always selling, you're always hammering the program, hammering the culture, getting trying to get buy-in, and so even just recruiting and capturing minds and building trust at the NFL level is very, very important. I mean, how can you get guys to play for you if they don't believe in what you're saying? And most of the time, they make more money than you. And so I've just learned so much along the way, and just really kind of taken what I've learned and just applied it to how I feel about doing things and treating people, and being different in an authentic way. But I mean, obviously, Nick Saban, Jim Tressel, Romeo Crennel, Jack Del Rio, guys like that. I've learned so much. And not just from those head coaches, but you learn a lot in recruiting from the assistant coaches that you work with and work for, that are doing sometimes they're the ones doing the lion's share of the recruiting, and so you just learn what works, understand what doesn't work, and then I just make it my own. I make sure that I try to be myself and not try to be someone else.
Yeah, and it is interesting the point that you bring up now that essentially you do have to recruit your current players still. That's a new thing with a couple of years now within college football is having to make sure that your current players are happy.
Yeah, I mean it's just connection and authentic relationships. We're responsible for them while they're here to make sure that we can do everything we can to help them be successful on and off the field, and I mean that's a huge responsibility. It's not so much to keep the players happy. It's so much that to give them what they need, and when players feel like they have what they need to be successful, then they know that you care and that you're doing everything you possibly can within your power to help them and provide resources to help them further themselves, then they're going to buy in, to what you're doing, what you're saying, and as long as you're consistent with them and you're fair, then they're gonna be happy, and they're gonna enjoy what they're doing, and they're gonna want to be here, and that's our goal. With any of the coaches that are here, support staff, or any of the players, I want them to want to be at Michigan State, to want to be Spartans, and that's how we're going to be. That's how we'll get the most production. That's how we'll get better the fastest.
Yeah, and going and now more so with your staff. Since you took over in February of 2020, you've implemented a lot of new roles that people at Michigan State, didn't really have before. Your support staff includes a dietitian, a director of player personnel, a director of player engagement, multiple offensive and defensive analysts, and those are just a few. So why are these roles important when trying to build a successful Division I football program, or better yet, a Division I program that is competing for championships?
Yeah, well, that's what the best programs in the country are doing. I mean, that's the structure. We have 120 players. Typically 85 guys on scholarship when you talk about non-COVID issues, and it's a teacher-student ratio, and it requires specialization. Like in the weight room and our strength and conditioning, our team is built in the weight room, so we have to have a great staff there. We have full-time strength coaches in there and exercise scientists and sports scientists that all they do is focus on our 120 players, and that's important. We have Amber Reinstein, our dietitian. She works 24/7 with football only, so we get individualized plans for each player, so they can reach their full potential. And then the same thing on the coaching side of it. When we have the offensive coaches and the defensive coaches, and we have support staff to help them and help them become more efficient. We can get more done in a short period of time, and that helps the players. And then also in the recruiting office, we're going after the best players. We recruit nationally, and we have to work as a team, and we need numbers of very motivated, skilled folks to be able to identify, evaluate, and then ultimately recruit the top talent and get them here to East Lansing and get them signed. And so, it takes a village, and I'm very fortunate. I can say this is the best staff that I've been a part of, top to bottom in my 25 years of coaching.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Well, with year 2 on the horizon, then, you're going to go through a series of firsts here in East Lansing. So tell us how a true summer, we'll go off of that then, a true summer of conditioning in the weight room has been going so far, because I know that's also a huge emphasis when it comes to your program. You certainly have to be way ahead, I would imagine, in this department. Don't want to make any assumptions than you were last year. What players have been making some big strides over the summer?
Yeah, we're much further ahead now. I mean, our summer program is about roughly a 9-week program, and it's a lot of it is in the weight room. Getting bigger, faster, and stronger. We also have a running program to work on our speed and our agility and our stamina and our change of direction, our balance and body control, and just our burst and acceleration. So we have that. It's all very football specific, and we also have opportunities to visit with our players in the classroom and talk to them about scheme. We do that over the 9 weeks, and it's really a time where players can get in the best shape of their lives, and going to fall camp, with a lot of confidence in their preparation, physically and mentally. And be ready to go and compete for roles, compete for starting jobs, prove themselves and see how far they've come since spring ball, and then ultimately get ready to play a Big Ten schedule, to play a tough schedule. So the summer is a very, very important time. I believe you can gain a lot of ground in the summer. And you may not be able to win any games in the summer, but you can certainly lose games. if you don't use your time wisely. And I feel very good about what we've done so far this summer, and all of our players are making strides. You can see it physically. The numbers back it up: the height, weight, the speeds that we monitor with the GPS units and things like that, and the body fat analysis and lean muscle mass. Every single one of our players is getting better.
Yeah, and speaking of, too, that Big Ten schedule, or I mean, not the Big Ten schedule, but your schedule in general for 2021. What do you like about it? I mean, obviously we've learned some times and then, TV locations, and but what else about this schedule excites you, or what games are you really looking forward to?
Well, it's the Big Ten schedule is going to be a very rigorous one, and with our non-conference, with Youngstown and Western Kentucky and Miami Coral Gables, those are historically good programs that have won championships, which is exciting for us. We need to have a strong schedule. And we need to prepare to play an extremely competitive and tough game, week in and week out. I think it's a schedule that appeals to recruits because they're playing in some of the best stadiums and with the best fans in the country, with the best coaches and the best talent. And so that's what excites me. It's an opportunity for us to go out there and show how far we've come, go out there and compete. Our goal is to win every game on our schedule, and we're going to have our hands full. But it's a challenge, and we're all competitors, and so we embrace it.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting too because you open the year with a Big Ten opponent. Traditionally, that's not really how it goes. You're going to be at Northwestern, and the other one that I think a lot of Michigan State fans are going to be excited for is the fact that you actually get to host Michigan again this year versus going to the Big House. Yeah,
I mean, open up with a Big Ten team is. It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, you don't have any preseason games to warm up. We'll have a couple of scrimmages in fall camp, and that'll be it. And we're going to find out right away, how far we've come and what team we have up until that point. And so that I believe that game is going to be the only game televised at that time. So there's going to be a large viewership, and we're going to be right center stage, and so that's exciting for us and good for our program.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, it's going to be a late one, but it's going to be a good way to kick off the year. And, obviously the Big Ten, too, is a lot different than it was back when you played at Wisconsin. But what have you learned about the conference in a year since being back and coaching in it?
Yeah, a lot of good coaches, a lot of good head coaches, solid programs, great programs. The players, a lot of good players, a lot of NFL players, and just a lot of pride and a lot of tradition. And it's hyper competitive. I enjoy the fellowship with the other head coaches. On some of the head coaching calls and with the Big Ten office, and just talking over issues. Especially we had a lot of conference calls last summer with COVID and things like that, and so just getting to know these guys really kind of off the field and outside of competition is pretty neat, and it's an outstanding conference. I think it's the best conference in the country, and with the best coaches and some of the best coaches and really some of the best stadiums and venues. I mean, it's hyper competitive. It's exactly what I'm looking for.
Well, you'll get to see a lot of those coaches in person at the end of July. They just announced that the Big Ten Football Media Days is going to be back this year at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and that'll be your first go-round at Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah, that'll be my first go-round, so I'm looking forward to getting down there and meeting some new people, making some new connections, and really just promoting Michigan State football and the Michigan State University as a whole.
Now, before I let you go, you know that I was not going to let you off the hook without this one question. And so you have mentioned before that music is a great way to get to know people and kind of their style. And so I have to know, what kind of music do you like to listen to? We do this hashtag Tuesday Tune show here that, would have been perfect for you to come on that day. But I want to know, just what kind of music do you want people to know that you listen to? And do you have certain songs that you listen to at different times for different things? I mean, let us in on some of that.
You know what? I listen to all types of music. I'll listen to jazz. I'll listen to, R&B. I'll listen to some hip hop and some rap. Kind of whatever kind of sounds good to me at that time. Whatever I'm in the mood for. I've got Pandora. I got Apple Music. I got all types of stuff, and so got all these playlists. If I need to wake up a little bit, or I might put something on that's got a little bit of bass to it. If I'm trying to chill out, I might go on some Miles Davis or something like that. It just depends. Not too much on the classical, but I do appreciate it, and I like country sometimes.
Oh.
I realized that someone told me that if you listen to a country song and you listen to it, like if you rewind it, the guy gets his dog back, his truck back, and his girl back.
That's about accurate, I'd say. He gets all of it back. That's hilarious. Now, going off of that, too, because, you mentioned being real and wanting to resonate not only with, the recruits and their parents and that kind of thing. So how do you think that helps you to resonate more, essentially, because you have a playlist, by the way, a game day playlist that's available for everybody to download on Apple and I think Spotify, right?
I believe so, yes.
So, how do you feel as though that helps you resonate with recruits?
Everyone likes music, and people are interested in, we're interested in each other. We're trying to get to know one another and trying to find ways to connect and find commonalities and alignment and things like that. And then, but also respect differences and celebrate, the differences and the opportunities to learn from each other. And so, just putting out a playlist or, maybe, giving, maybe putting something out on social media about what I'm doing or what I care about or how I may relax or whatever. I think it's important that helps the recruits and their families know more about myself and also the fans and especially during COVID, I just was not able to get out in person as much as I would like. I really like I said, I get a lot of my energy from people, and I like to get out and shake hands and have face-to-face interactions and just really get to know people and connect in that way. And so anything that I can do to help connect and just give people that are interested just a little bit more information about who I am and what I'm all about, I'm certainly willing to do that.
All right, and so I'm assuming that's also why you are about showing off your fashion, your shoes.
Well, I'll tell you what. They asked me if I'm a sneakerhead, and I say no, I'm not a sneakerhead because I don't know the names of the shoes. I don't know like the numbers and the names. I just know what I like. And I know what feels good on my foot, and then I wear that. But someone said, "Oh, those are Jordan 4s, or those are Jordan." I said, "Oh, really? They are? Nice. I didn't know that." So, it's. I'm not sure if I'm showing off, but I like a decent pair of shoes. Every now and then. It's not bad.
No, I never said it was. I like a decent pair of shoes myself. So
it's a free country.
Exactly. You have the right to wear whatever shoes that you want to wear. Well, Mel, I really appreciate you taking the time to just discuss, what's going on currently with your program. And as I know, recruiting is just so huge to you in what you're trying to build at Michigan State. And so, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for appeasing me with my fashion and music questions. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll do it again one day. Hope you have a great weekend. Go Green.
All right, that was Michigan State's football coach, Mel Tucker. A lot of exciting things that are happening within his program right now, obviously. Didn't get into any of the transfers that were, that had come in over the last couple of months, but that's something that we'll, of course, be keeping our eyes on as the summer continues to roll around and then also into fall ball and then into the season, obviously. It is quite interesting, to think that when he was meeting all of those recruits from 2021 that Alex, he had never, seen them until they came on campus just a couple of weeks ago.
That's a crazy dynamic to think about. And to think that he's had so much success with that and not even being able to, see these kids in person, but even to furthermore, didn't even really have that established, position as the head coach at that time. So, I mean, I am really looking forward to what he'll be able to do, getting these kids on campus and meeting them in person, meeting their families and all that kind of stuff.
I do want to give a rundown, too, of the 2021 schedule because it is so fascinating that they're opening against Northwestern, a team that they were able to beat last year, and that was a really big, good win for them. And the other win was against Michigan at the Big House. So that's really great too in the fact that, winning at the Big House, he gets that win over Michigan last year, now getting to welcome, the Wolverines to Spartan Stadium, which is essentially, it's going to be packed this year.
Oh yeah, no question. Yeah, those are two massive wins, and I mean, minus really for year one, if you take away the Rutgers game early with all the fumbles, that really kind of shocked the fan base a little bit, kind of made them a little bit insecure. But I mean, if you take those fumbles away and you handle Rutgers the way that I think they would have without those turnovers, I mean, the season one you couldn't have really written it up much better. I mean, you take down the rival, you have a marquee win against Northwestern ranked team. I mean the stars are aligning. Just put it that way. I
just think too, you can't put a cost on just being able to do things in person, no matter what it is. As mentioning, the summer conditioning. Because if you remember last year, I mean, players had to at one point they were working out at their house. Mm-hmm. That's just so different than being in the weight room with Jason Novak, strength coach.
Oh, no question.
Being around all the other guys in general, just kind of pushing you, the hooting and hollering that takes place. And so let me just, for those who may not know what the 2021 schedule looks like, I will just kind of flush it out for you real quick. So we mentioned that they are going to open the season at Northwestern. That game is September 3rd on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, but 8 p.m. Central Time. So it's in Evanston. And then after that, they're going to come home for a game against Youngstown State. September 11th, it's Saturday, a 12 noon kickoff. Then they go to Miami September 18th, a Saturday, 12 noon kickoff, before coming back home for two games against Nebraska. Western Kentucky is the homecoming game, which is going to be at 7:30. And then they'll travel to Rutgers, Indiana, be back home on October 30th against Michigan, then travel to Purdue, come back against Maryland on November 13th, go to Ohio State, the second to last game of the year at Ohio State. That's one I'm really looking forward to is at Ohio State. And they actually close with Penn State. So those last two games of the regular season are those are going to be compelling. I mean, you save both Ohio State and Penn State for the last two games of the regular season.
Yeah, let's just hope, though, I mean, that the season they'll be extremely compelling if the season is going in a positive direction. And those are games that we're going to be like, okay, this is the measure up game. I mean, let's see where we're at. I mean, the worst case scenario obviously would be rolling into there and not having the season that you were hoping for, and looking at Ohio State going, oh my gosh, what are they going to do to us? But that's a massive measure of game, and I really truly believe that they're going to take a step forward this season, and then that'll be the true test at the end of the year to see how far away are they and where are they at in terms of potential championship caliber team.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to like I said, a lot to look forward to, a lot to point to, and
I got to mention real quick though too. I went through Mel Tucker's pregame playlist, and there's a total of 13 songs, and 6 of them are happen to be on my workout playlist, and one of them actually Dreams and Nightmares, the song that I played on Tuesday.
Yes,
is the first song on his playlist, so that's pretty funny.
Did you know that he had a playlist?
I did not know. Just during that interview, I checked it. He actually has 4 of them, and it's funny because his post-game playlist compared to his pre-game playlist could not be any more different. I mean, I'll name one song on his post-game playlist to kind of give a feel, and it's Hotel California by Eagles is on his post-game, and then the first song on his pre-game playlist is Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill. So he was not kidding when he said he likes all types of music, depending on his mood, depending on the time, depending on the feel. So you got to love that.
You know what part was actually really good? Was the country music comment.
Oh, yeah.
At the end, if you rewind a country music song, at the end of it, he gets his dog back, he gets his girl back, he gets his truck.
Couldn't be more true.
Well, that's great. Actually, I had not seen that post-game playlist.
Yeah, you have to check it. He's got about four on there, and they're all pretty good.
All right.
All very different.
All very different for sure. Well, thanks for doing a little deep dive investigation into Mel Tucker's playlist. These recruits I'm mentioning, he's got. I think a big thing for 2022 is that quarterback of who they're looking for a quarterback, and he's the second quarterback recruit that will be on campus from the first visit. Nico, I don't know how to say Nico's last name, but Nico is going to be. He was the first one that came over the weekend of June 4th that weekend, and then now obviously Caton Hauser is. People are pretty high on this Caton Hauser from California, I believe it is.
Yeah, no, from what I'm hearing too, from yesterday, Spartan Beat, Corey and Justin kind of breaking down each of the recruits. It's sounding like Nico and that I don't know about that relationship, but it's kind of starting to cool off. I think with that connection, I think Nico is starting to lean towards either Arizona State or West Virginia. That was the latest that I had heard. So, yeah, this visit coming up with Caton Hauser this weekend is going to be massive. I mean, he right now is a soft verbal to Boise State, but from all indications, that's not necessarily set in stone by any means. So, definitely.
And he did push. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No, you're good. This is your show. This is the Audrey Dahlgren show. You can interrupt me anytime you want.
And he did push up his visit to Michigan State because he was supposed to go to some other places, I believe, before coming here. And
so it's sounding like it's either going to be Michigan State or Boise State, and this visit is going to be extremely important in that decision.
Yeah. Well, hey, I just I'm excited that things are getting back to normal. I'm excited that we're getting back to kind of what life used to be.
No kidding.
I'll say it again. I say it all the time. I've said it so many times over, in referencing like with how he approaches things when it comes to the recruiting standpoint. Face-to-face interactions are essential. There's nothing that tops it. And, being able to just develop that relationship face-to-face.
Oh, yeah, no question. It is a totally different ballgame, and especially for a coaching staff when you're coming in and this is year one and you need to establish yourself as from a culture standpoint, from everything off of the field, and to have to recruit in those murky waters. I mean, that seems like the tallest task that you could ask for from a coaching staff, and I think they navigated it pretty dang well.
It does crack me up, though, when they do get – it's funny how – because he said when they first get here, they kind of line them up in the photo shoot. I just think
didn't have to give much direction for that. Yeah, they had every pose, sure, already to memory.
Come on. We live in a society of Instagram and where social media is just like, hey, look at me.
This next generation's the pros at that, for sure.
Look at me. Let me promote myself. Here's what I have for you. Holding out the football, Oh, yeah. Straight face, like arms folded. Lift. You know how they said, guys would pose.
Lift up your biceps a little bit. Oh, yeah. They got it all figured out.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hey, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed tuning in to today's hashtag Friday Feels show. Really enjoyed this one. I hope everybody has a tremendous weekend and stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you back here on Monday. The Couch in the Rube is next.